In this video, we're going to take a look at using drum replacement right within Logic Pro. This is built into Logic. It's free, included with Logic. You don't need any fancy, expensive plugins to do this at a basic level. So it's built right in. There are some really nice plugins that do this at a much higher level. But if you just want to replace a kick, if you just want to replace a snare, this is a quick, down and dirty, easy way of doing it, and it doesn't really cause too much of a headache. What you need is an isolated kick, isolated snare, and you need to have it fairly decently isolated in order for it to work. But there is some wiggle room with that. So let me play what I have going on for drums here right now. This has just a light mix on it. And then there's some snare later on. So this is made up of two sort of room mics and then a kick mic and a snare mic. So let's look at replacing this kick. We select the track and we go up to track and replace or double drum track. This window is going to come up. If I press cancel, I just kind of go back to how I was. The kick track, the original kick track, gets really big, and we see the replacement, which is in MIDI, is underneath it. So what do we have to do here? Well, the first thing we got to do is zoom in and take a look at the MIDI that was created to replace it and change the sensitivity, the threshold here, in order to make sure everything is working properly. So you can see there's 3 kick hits right here. I can play them. And there's 4 here. Let me solo again. There's 4 here. So there's that little pickup note. Okay. So when we want the threshold, when we change the threshold, it's going to get rid of some of the smaller, sort of quieter notes. So watch this. See the notes, the MIDI notes disappear down here. And as I bring the threshold back, more and more come in. So we want the threshold in a place where it looks like it is picking up all of the kick notes. If I have the threshold too low, it'll start to pick up snare notes. In this case, it's pretty well isolated, so I don't think I'm going to get too many snare notes. But remember, this is MIDI, so we can always change it. We can always come back and just delete a note, add a note, that kind of stuff. Okay. Now we can come over here and we can choose a drum kit. Excuse me, over here on this track, and choose a drum kit. So we can come over and play the MIDI by itself. So that's the drum kit, or that's the drum sound that it's replacing with. If I go back to the original, here's the original, and then here's the replacement. Okay, and I can scroll through different different sounds over here. It's a lot of different kick sounds. I'm just letting it play, choosing a kick sound. So let's say I want that one. I just press OK, and now I have this MIDI kick sound here. It's muted the original. If I wanted to, I could unmute this with Control M, and it unmutes it, and then I could kind of mix the two of them together. In this case, I'm just going to leave it muted. And now I have this kick sound. Here's my original snare. Okay, so let's look at replacing the snare. Same thing, select the snare track. I'm actually going to leave the side stick, but we'll replace just the snare part. So we're going to go to track, replace our double drum track, and it's set to kick, so we're going to change it to snare, and that changes what I have selectable over here. I'm going to assume the threshold is decent for this demo here, but I could spend a lot of time looking at some of the drum fills and things like that. So let's just hit OK. By the way, I could change this to doubling where it won't mute the original, which I'll do now. Press OK. And then my new snare sound is right here, and I can audition it over here. So if I solo up my new snare sound, we're going to come over to where the snare is actually playing big over here. Okay, let's just go through, choose one. A lot of snare sounds. By the way, you can use your own samples for this too. Let's load into your sample library. You could choose electronic snares. We'll choose that one. It's different enough sounding than the original. Yeah. Where was it? It's 15. Yeah, let's use 15. Okay, and then here's my kick. Now I could layer that with the original snare if I want. Original. There's the original. And there's the added one. And then if I didn't want, there's this side sticking happening here. So this should be like a side stick sound right in here. So I can just double click this because this is all editable MIDI. I can find out when it goes to full snare. Yeah, so then what I can do is just get rid of all these. And now we have the side stick happening right there. And it goes to the full snare over here. So now we have the replaced snare. So you can see you can really kind of go crazy with this. You can replace drums pretty easily. You can spend a lot of time doing it, but it's not difficult. Really simple. It's non-destructive. You don't have to get rid of the original. You get to keep it, mute it, mix it in, whatever you want to do. Select the track, replace or double drum track. Give it a try. See what you think.